What's up, Cherry Blossom family? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another installment of DIY July, where I do a Disney inspired DIY every week during the month of July. Today is a highly requested video because it is making the seashell crown that I've made for both Ursula and King Triton, hashtag daddy though. And I'm going to show both of them to you now so you can see the end result of what they look like. Now these are made with real seashells, crystals, glass beads. This is the Ursula version. Super, super stunning. It does have a piece of ribbon at the bottom, and that is to hold it in place because this is extremely heavy and you're definitely going to want to do this step. So here is the Ursula version. Here is the King Triton version. Now you can make them really in any color scheme that you choose, and I'll show you that during the DIY. But be sure to be following me on Instagram and tag me in all of your posts if you decide to make this beautiful DIY. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with because I know a lot of you have been waiting for this video. So let's go ahead and get crafting. We're going to go ahead and get started by wrapping your headband. Everything that you need is going to be listed in the description box down below. So I'm going to show you how I made my pattern for covering my headband. I just took my headband and I traced about a ½ inch around the entire headband to create that pattern. And then I am just using a marker here, tracing around it, and I'm going to cut out a piece of velvet fabric or whatever fabric matches the color scheme that you are going for. Now we're going to use my favorite spray adhesive, Super 77. You can get it at any department store. I usually get mine at Lowe's. You're going to want to spray the inside and the outside of the headband, and then you're going to want to start wrapping the fabric around it like so. As you can see, I'm just pushing in the outside edges into the center. And so there's going to be a seam on the inside of your headband, which is okay because we are going to cover that with some Gimp Braid here in just a moment. Now you're going to use Fabric Fusion to cover up that seam with some Gimp Braid. So as you can see in the bottom corner, Gimp Braid is just a standard trim that you can purchase really at any fabric store. And then I place a little bit of the Fabric Fusion in the center and use a clothespin to hold the Gimp Braid in place while it dries. And you're going to want to continue this step all the way around the full entire length of the headband until the seam is fully covered. Gimp Braid is known to fray, so I like to take my Fabric Fusion and seal the edges of my Gimp Braid. And now here is what the finished headband looks like with all of the clothespins, and now we're going to let it sit for several hours to dry, anywhere from 6 to 24 hours. I prefer 24 hours just because that will ensure that the fabric glue is set in place perfectly. First, you're going to want to start by taking out all of the pointed seashells from the bag. These are going to act as the base of your crown, and you're going to build around these points because that's what really makes it the crown, is these points. So as you can see, I'm laying them out and then I'm starting to place seashells around them. And something that's very important to me is symmetry on both sides, because I think it just looks so nice when you have that symmetry with your crown. It just looks professional, it looks fancy, and it looks purposeful, and that's kind of the look that we are going for. Something that I will say is shells are fragile, so be sure to pull more seashells than you think that you are going to need. And also, when you start gluing them onto your headband, you're going to start noticing that they're going to start condensing down closer and closer to one another. And so you'll definitely want to take out more seashells than you think you need to spray paint, because there's a good possibility that you will run out of seashells and you don't want to have to go and re-spray paint your seashells. I think I'm happy with how these seashells are, so we're going to start getting ready for spray paint. Now it's time to separate my seashells into the different colors. I'm using the points as gold, and the rest I am just choosing the color scheme to go along with it. So I'm choosing if they are going to be black or purple, or if they are going to have glitter. I have chosen to leave the points the only thing on this headband that are gold to help them stand out, because I want those gold points to emulate King Triton's crown that Ursula steals at the end of the film. So we are ready to paint. This is a pretty self-explanatory tip. Now you're just going to take your seashells in their separated colors and start spray painting. I would suggest a couple of coats on each side because you will be seeing the back of your headpiece as well. So you want to make sure that both sides of your seashells are covered. Once you're done with a couple of coats on each side, you're going to want to let these dry completely before you glue them to your headband.
Many hours later.
I just brought in all of the seashells from outside. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the little clothespins off of my headband to start, and then I'm going to start kind of placing the seashells where I think they need to go. I will start gluing down, but before we do the glue down process, I'm going to take some of this ribbon and I'm actually going to hot glue it onto the band because I want to show you this up close. So it's a little bit hard to see, but you see I added some ribbon on there just to make the base wider. A lot of these seashells are wide, have wide bases, and you really need something to really be able to glue to or glue on.
Now it's time to take off those clothespins now that your Gimp Braid is fully dry. Now we are going to create that base to widen your headband. So I have taken, here's my aerial wand by the way, I have taken 3 strands of ribbon. I'm doing one down the very center. And how you determine the length of this ribbon is how far down you feel your seashells will go on the edge of your headband. So just keep that in mind. There's no right or wrong to how long you make the ribbon. It's just best that it meets your very bottom seashell. And this is probably going to add about 1 inch to your headband. And something I will say about this is that you could probably purchase a 2-inch headband and it would give you the proper width. However, I was just trying to work with what I had existing. Now it's time for seashell placement, and you'll want to kind of place your seashells where you think they're going to go before you glue. There we go, we got a hidden Mickey. And now I'm just taking and playing around with the seashells. I'm trying to place them where I had previously placed them. A good way to do this, I think, would be to take a picture before you spray paint them to help you remember where everything was placed. I did not do that. So as you can see, I'm kind of referring to the King Triton crown that I made previously. And yeah, just adding them all in, and then I will start gluing them in place when I am happy with them. I really like how this looks, so we're going to start using hot glue and gluing them down. For the design of crown that I like to make, I like to have a centerpiece, and this is what I had chosen, was a seashell with a purple brooch in the center. I think it looks really pretty, and as you can see on the King Triton crown above, I have a pearlescent golden brooch with a teal rhinestone. I just think it makes it look really nice and complete when you have that. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and get that made so I could add it during the seashell portion. And I'm going to kind of fast forward through this footage because basically I spent a significant amount of time waiting for hot glue to dry. And when I mean significant amount of time, I would say probably about an hour in total it took me to get all of these seashells placed onto this headband. Now it's time to add all different types of beads. I had chosen some pearlescent beads and also some plastic crystals that I got at Michael's to add into the crown. Something to note about this is I prefer to use the glue E6000 for glass beads or for crystals. And for plastic beads and plastic rhinestones, I prefer to use hot glue. The reason for that is because glass and stones are very slippery and the hot glue doesn't seem to hold them very well. So be sure to keep that in mind. I really liked playing with circular rhinestones and pearls on this one because I thought it made it look very nautical. And as you can see, I have a bunch of bags of miscellaneous beads and rhinestones that I am choosing from, and there is seriously no rhyme or reason to what I am doing. I am just trying to make it as shiny, beautiful, and royal as possible. to keep up with the queen herself, Ursula. So have fun and be creative with this part of your craft. I fast forwarded a little more. Here's some more progress, and as you can see, I've gotten the tweezers out and I'm getting very precise with it over here. But a couple things I want to mention that I don't actually show in the DIY that I think are very important is if you plan on wearing this for any amount of time, I would highly suggest either gluing or placing a ribbon on each side of your headband that can be tied behind the back of your head at the nape of your neck, because this crown is very heavy and it will move and shift as you are walking around. I wore this to Villains Night in Walt Disney World. It was very uncomfortable. I would highly suggest using this piece for the gram and not wearing it for more than an hour or so, as it is not very comfortable. Something that would make it more comfortable though is, as you can see, the headband is fairly tight, and when it has that many pieces of shell and things attached to it, it does not move very well. So if you happen to have a head like a bust that is styrofoam, or you can also get a glass bust that is just a glass head from Hobby Lobby or Michael's, and place it on there to help it form, to make it a little bit larger and a little bit looser, I would highly suggest that, especially if you're planning on wearing it for more than a few minutes. Here's a closer look of the details of the crown. As you can see, I added a lot of little tiny circular rhinestones on it to make it look like bubbles, make it look like it was under the sea. And I think it really did capture that under the sea look and the royal sea witch vibes that I was going for through this Ursula crown. You'll have to let me know down below what you think of it. I am very, very proud of how this crown turned out, and I hope that you guys have just as much fun making it as I did. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Thank you so, so much for being here. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for more Disney DIYs, magical travel vlogs, unboxings, hauls, you name it. I love you guys. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Tag me in those photos on Instagram, guys, and I will see you in the next video. TTFN!